What we're going to do next is we're going to learn how to read scales from a chord diagram. This is a very good visual method of learning new scales. So it's relatively simple. First of all, we start on the lowest string to the left, which in this case would be the 6th string. And this is called the pentatonic minor scale. Pentatonic means 5-tone scale. Your major and minor scales actually have 7 tones. The pentatonic has 5 tones in it. And so this one starts on the 6th string at the 1st fret. So you would press down and play this one. Then you continue on down that string to play the 4th finger here at the 4th fret. You're done with that string, so you move over to the 5th string and you play at the 1st fret. Then you move down here to the 3rd finger at the 3rd fret. You're done with this string, so you move to the next string, play the 1st finger, 3rd finger, 1st finger, 3rd finger, 1st finger, 4th finger, 1st finger, 4th finger. And like in all scales, that's going up the scale, so now we're going to go down the scale, so we go backwards. Play the 1st finger, play the 4th, 1st, 3rd, 1st, 3rd, 1st, 3rd, 1st, 4th, 1st. Back down to where we started. Now, as in all scales, you would play alternate picking technique, so you would play down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, and so forth as you go back down the scale, back down to where you started. So that's how to read a scale from a chord diagram. Here is the C major scale, 3rd position. So you would do this the same way as we did that pentatonic minor scale. You would start, in this case, at the 8th fret, play the 4th finger here, play the 1st finger here, 3rd, 4th, 1st, 3rd, 4th, 1st, 3rd, 1st, 2nd, 4th, 1st, 3rd, 4th, and then you go backwards down the scale back to where you started. Now notice that in your chord diagram here we start at this is the 5th, 7th, and 9th frets. So we're moving up the neck and getting more familiar with other parts of the neck rather than remaining within the first 3 or 4 frets of the guitar. So this is the C major scale, 3rd position. And in the next part of the lesson, I will demonstrate how to play these scales on the guitar. That starts way up here on the neck. It's between the 5th and the 9th frets, right? So you're going to start on the 6th string with your 4th finger, all right, at the 8th fret, and that's our starting point. So and it sounds exactly like the C major scale 1st position. And we're going to use our alternate picking technique as well, between down and up strokes. The other thing to remember is, as we go up the scale, again, we hold the preceding finger down when we add the next one, okay? When you're done with the string, you lift all 3 off, or how many that are down on the string, and then you start, and here was the long stretch between the 5th, 7th, and 9th frets. That was the long stretch on the 4th string, right? But notice how I'm holding the preceding finger down when I add the next one on the way up. On the way back, That's when you, again, add one finger at a time. Now here in the beginning, it might be a good idea when you reach this third string on the way down that you hold that first finger down so that you stretch out that long stretch to here and then kind of lift it, okay? But that's just in the beginning. You want to lift them when you're done with the string. And then you hit that one, and notice how I'm adding one finger at a time as I go down, okay? So that's the C major scale. And again, we use our down-up picking, or alternate picking technique on all of the scales when we practice them. So this is the C major scale, third position, starting here. So this time I'll say the down-up stroke so you know where you're at. So here we go, starting at the beginning again with the fourth finger. Down, up, 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 down. And that's the C major scale, third position. Again, the same scale technique no matter what scale you're playing is used for every scale. That's the beauty of it, is that once you learn the first one, the same rules apply for all the others. The pentatonic minor scale, which started here at the first fret with your first finger. So that was the F pentatonic minor scale. And again, you hold your fingers down on the way up, right? When you're done with the string, you lift your fingers off the string and proceed to the next string. When you get to this point, you add each one at a time, lift one finger when you add the next. And again, alternate picking technique, down and up strokes. So I'll go through it again and say what strokes. So here we start at the beginning with the first finger down, and we hit down, up, 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 down. Okay? And that was the pentatonic minor. Now on this one, I told you that once you learn it here in the first fret, you could also move it up to the second fret to make it a little more interesting to practice. Then move it up to the third fret. At each different fret that you play the scale at, it is in a different key. So again, I would practice this maybe all the way up to the 10th fret, okay? Up here on this portion of the guitar. All right. This way you'll get familiar with playing it on all different parts of the neck of the guitar, and it's the same basic technique no matter what fret you play it on. Now this is a left hand technique, and there's two ways to slur. When we're going up the scale or ascending, we pick the first note here and we hammer on the string to sound the second note. You see? Pick the first note, hammer on the string. Now remember, when you're doing this, you want to be sure that you're hammering with the tip of the finger, right? And you're not winding up here and coming down like this. You're staying close to the string. From the point that you're at, you go straight down. You hear that? If you can hear that sound, then when you do this, you see how it makes a nice strong sound when you pick the first note and hammer on with the second note, okay? And that's called a hammer on, by the way, and that's one way to slur. So when we're going up the scale using that pentatonic minor, you pick the first note, hammer on the second. Same thing on the fifth string, except here you're using your third finger. And then it's the first and the third finger here. So we're hammering on, picking the first note, hammering on with the second. Now, a common error that people make when they're doing this in the beginning is they think that they are continuing. Once you start this motion, you've got to go right down and hit that string, because if you hesitate, you pick the first note, touch that string, you see, you will deaden the sound, and then when you press down on the string, you get no sound at all. So it has to be one shot, okay, one good shot to get two clear notes out of the hammering on. So when we go up the scale, we hammer on. When we get to this point, our two fingers are on the string already. Now we do the pull off on the way down the scale. So we hit this finger and we pull off, see, straight down to sound the second note, right? If we just lift, we'll get a weak sound. So we want to pull straight down towards the floor, but we don't want to pull with the hand, okay? We don't want to do this, all right? We want to just pull with that finger straight down, and that's how you get the clear sound out of the pull-off part of the scale. So, as we do this, starting on the first string going down, now go to the second string. Now notice both fingers have to be on the string at the same time for this to work, okay? So this is kind of a different thing we have to think about. Here, on the third string where we use the first and third fingers, both have to be down and pull straight down, okay? So we have a hammering on the way up the scale and a pulling off on the way down. Both techniques are known as a slur. So that gives you a little review in the scale techniques, and also on the hammer on and the pull off, which are called the slur, okay? And you could hear the difference. When I pick two notes, that's what it sounds like when I pick them both, right? When I do a slur, you hear the difference? That's slur, here's pick. You can hear two distinct sounds there, hitting of the string. Here, it slurs both of the notes together, and that's why it's called a slur, okay? So that's a review of the basic scale techniques that we have been working on, and I hope that helps you to remember what you're doing.